So when it comes to money, everybody's worried. We got the government, they're worried. We got other governments are worried. We got businesses that are worried, and the American people themselves. Well, big businesses are now begging the Biden administration to make a major change and to help them, not just financially, but in the core of their business. I want to address what's going on there in just a moment. Also, consumers are spending less money. And this is actually extremely troubling for said businesses, simply because they need consumers to keep spending money so that they can reinvest back into their business, back into their employees, and hopefully turn a profit. Well, guess what? Experts anticipate we are going to face an incoming recession. It's going to happen. But not only that, they are saying that we are going to face this recession soon. And according to the Bank of America CEO, he believes we are going to be dipping into a recession, but that the Fed is not even going to reach their target of their 2% inflation goal until possibly 2025, which means rates won't come down as quickly as many people were anticipating, which means spending is not going to resume. Again, major problems. But this is extremely important. What the Federal Reserve does, what the US government does, again, both of these things, they have to be in sync or else we are going to struggle. Well, what does this mean for you? Well, ultimately, what we know at this time is if businesses start to struggle, the American people are going to struggle as well. Because when businesses see less revenue, it also means an increase in job losses across the board. And that alone is troubling. But again, it's not all. According to two GOP lawmakers, they believe that the Biden administration has made a catastrophic mistake when it comes to student loan repayments. They say by not letting the student loan payment pause expire months ago, it is now creating a massive financial hurdle that millions of Americans will not be able to overcome. These two GOP lawmakers say that once the payment pause expires, which is going to happen soon, and payments are going to have to restart by the 1st of October, they say millions of people will be unable to pay off this debt. As a result, the federal government is not going to be able to count on this money that was supposed to come in. And if the U.S. government cannot count or rely on certain income coming in, guess what? They cannot use that money for other things. But again, it doesn't stop there. Now, today, President Biden, he had a big speech. He came out and he talked about his new plan called Bidenomics. And in this plan, he also bashed the way that the United States has been run for the past decade. Actually, many decades. Because he said that trickle-down economics doesn't work. That is the reason why he is promoting Bidenomics. But he also went on to say this, okay? I want to read you this. He says, and I quote, "Here's the simple truth about trickle-down economics. It didn't represent the best of American capitalism, let alone America. It represented a moment where we walked away from how this country was built, how this city was built. Bidenomics is about the future." He also went on to add, and I quote, "Bidenomics is just another way of saying restore the American dream because it worked before." That's what he said. Now, could this work? Could Bidenomics work? Possibly. It could, but really only time is going to tell. But there is something else that is happening again on today, okay, on the same day that President Biden came out and promoted his big Bidenomics plan. But what people are talking about is also the American dream. They are talking about living here and being able to work. Because today a group of 126 business leaders and employers called on President Biden. They sent him a letter, and in the letter they asked him to expand a special category of immigration permits for individuals who can fill positions where labor shortages exist. And in the letter, that they wrote to President Biden, they argue, and I quote, "Under the Department of Homeland Security, there is existing authority to expand work authorizations during trying times or situations." And they call it significant public benefits. They also went on to add, "What employers are arguing is that due to the acute labor shortage, we continue to have 10.5 million unfilled jobs, and that's driving up inflation for everyday Americans." Now, let's just talk about that for a second. Is this really driving up the cost for everyday Americans? Yes. When we do not have employees in the right jobs, okay, and let's say a certain business cannot produce some gadget, okay, so if they cannot produce, the little trinket that they make, and business B over here, who has dozens of employees, can make it, guess what? There's no competition, so they can actually sell their product for a little bit more, okay? That creates a little bit of inflation. The downside, though, and this is why some say this is not going to work, is because right now the Federal Reserve is saying that people who work or getting a wage increase in these trying times, that's what's causing inflation, simply because they have money to spend. But I bring this up because we are about to see potentially 2 more interest rate hikes. 2 more. If we see 2 more interest rate hikes, this is going to cause even more trouble for businesses. It's going to cause more trouble for individuals. We're going to see a massive slowdown, even more than what we are currently seeing. So right now, this group of 126 business leaders is now trying to get the Biden administration to change things, right? Expand the work authorization so that they can bring on more employees. Okay? But keep that in mind. They are trying to expand a special category of immigration permits. Okay? And that's major. Because again, what's one of the other issues we are currently facing? Border security. So right now, the argument is, how are we going to fix our economy? Can we provide additional stimulus? And I talked about this just this morning. And I said, if we dip into a recession, the Biden administration, President Biden himself, has already agreed that yes, we cannot go down the same road that we went down in 2008. We cannot see a long, painful, and slow economic recovery. We have to really dive in, overinvest, exactly what we've done over the past few years. That's why we have inflation where it's currently at. That's why rates are currently where they're at. So the Biden administration is coming out and saying they are on board and they agree, they approve. If we do dip into recession, they will get us out of the recession as quickly as possible. But again, how do we do this? Do we bring in more employees? Do we bring in people from another country entirely so that they can work here in the U.S. legally? They can get paid, but at the same time, they pay taxes. And those taxes can come back to us in other ways. Well, we're going to see. We're going to find out, because this is what they are now arguing is, how can we provide more relief and more benefits to the American people, but at the same time, we're not going to see less benefits to certain groups like Social Security recipients, SNAP beneficiaries, people on Medicare, and things like that. So, just wanted to fill you in on what's going on and why these big businesses are now pretty much begging the Biden administration to change the way things have been done for decades, because now we need it. But as we get more information as to what's going on here, how this is going to impact you and the U.S. economy, I promise I will fill you in on all the latest news and updates. All I ask, just 2 things. First off, hit the like button if you enjoyed today's video. Also, click that subscribe button so you never miss an update. And I will see you guys on the next one.